All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are joined by head coach Gino Oriema, senior guard Kristen Williams, sophomore guard Paige Beckers, and senior forward Olivia Nelson-Adota. Coach Oriema will get us started with a short opening statement. We'll follow that with questions for the student athletes for about 10 minutes, and Coach will stay with us for an additional 10 minutes after that. For the folks on with us on Zoom, if you can use your raise hand function if you do have a question. If the questions in this room are exhausted, we'll go to you. A reminder that the locker rooms are closed to the media this year. Still photography is permitted here, but folks interested in obtaining a video feed of the proceedings should visit with the folks at Hammond. Coach, why don't you get us started with an opening statement?
Thanks, Pat. You know, when the brackets come out, generally speaking, when the brackets come out, you know, you don't sit there and go, I hope this team wins, I hope this team loses, because whatever team you want to lose is going to win for sure. So you don't ever do that. You just try to prepare for every team in your bracket mentally the best you can. But when I did see our bracket, and I saw Central Florida in there, I knew that was going to be a grind. You know, I saw Notre Dame in there, and I knew that was going to be an emotional grind. And obviously NC State's the #1 seed, and they've been as good as anybody all season long. And I think the team that, I said this the other day, that really, you know, kind of escaped people's radar is one of the toughest teams that we've played all year long. You know, playing Indiana is probably as difficult an assignment as there is for your guards. Their guards put so much pressure on your guards. You know, they're so aggressive with the ball. You know, and I thought we did an amazing job defensively. I thought that was the difference in the game, that we were able to get the stops that we needed and not let them play to their strengths, you know, which was let their guards really, really go off. And then that spurt in the third quarter really kind of put us in great position. But, you know, these three guys here sitting to my right, you know, I'm thrilled for two of them, you know, Kristen and Liv, because they've been through a lot in these 4 years in the NCAA tournament. They missed one, you know, and they really played tonight like they didn't want the season to end. And, you know, Paige is Paige. She's not quite there yet, but she's further along than she has been. So all in all, it was a hell of an effort by our guys against a terrific, terrific team.
Thanks, Coach. If you have questions for the student athletes, go ahead and raise your hand and wait for a mic. Please do state your name and affiliation first. Mike, go ahead.
Mike Anthony from Hearst, Connecticut. I'd like to ask Kristen and Paige, what was the key to that third quarter spurt Coach mentioned? What got into you guys coming out for the second half?
I think it was just starting the second half out strong. We didn't really like the way the first half ended, so just turning that around. And I think it starts with our energy on defense always. Once that picks up, our offense is better. We started pushing the ball in transition more. We got a few easy buckets there. I thought we played with a lot better pace and just a lot better energy coming out in that second half.
Yeah, like she said, we were not happy how the first half ended. They got an easy 3 at the buzzer. So I guess the emphasis at halftime was just come out straight out the gate with our defense. Like, we have to be aware of what's going on at all times. And I thought we did a great job with that. And then we got easy buckets in transition. So I thought we did a good job of executing our game plan.
Lori, go ahead.
Lori Riley from the Hartford Courant. Kristen, can you just talk about your defense on Grace Berger? And you know, I think you guys held her to like 2 points in the first half. I assume she was a key to stop this game.
Yeah, she was absolutely the key. I knew I was going to have a tough – we knew we were going to have a tough assignment with her. She's a great guard. Her pull-ups are crazy. and she's a strong guard. We just knew that was an emphasis coming into the game that we were going to have to stop her, and I thought we did a great job with that.
Marvin right here in front.
Marvin Chambers, 4.0 Sports Media. Kristen, you look like magic going down the field court early in the third quarter. But the question, Coach was talking about you guys' defense in the third, but you guys made adjustment. You was on Ali on the second quarter, and you was really physical and changed her whole perspective while she was changing shots. What did you do in the second period, to throw off her game?
In the second quarter or the third quarter? I just tried to stay on her at all times. She runs off of a lot of balls or screens off the ball, so I was just trying to stay on her hip. And I knew she was going to try to get into her pull-up or get to the basket, so I was just trying to stay in between her and the basket as much as I could. And I thought my teammates did a great job of being there when I wasn't there and just being in help side. So it was a total team effort, and I just thought we did a great job with her.
Alexa in the middle.
Alexa Philippe from ESPN. Paige, this was the game where you this was the game where you took the most shots since coming back, and it looked like you were just trying to be aggressive from the get-go. Was that something that you thought you might have to do coming into the matchup, or was that something that just based off how the game was going, you thought you might have to be a little bit more aggressive out there than before?
It's something that Coach has been harping on me about a lot, and it helps me just to not think if I come out aggressive out of the gate. It's easy to come back from an injury and think a lot and second-guess your decisions, but I thought it helped me a lot just coming out of the gate aggressive, just because I didn't have to think about anything. I just played basketball, and I took what the defense gave me. My teammates did a great job of getting me open, and it was sort of how they were playing the game, sort of their schemes on defense and the shots that I got. But I think just coming out aggressive helped me a lot.
In the first quarter, I saw you went to the bench just to get some tape on your knee. Were you feeling okay physically out there, or how was it just to kind of go on your knee like that?
Yeah, I mean, it was an aggressive game. I knew it was going to take some hits on both sides, but that's basketball, and I love it, so I'm fine.
We've got about 5 minutes left with the student athletes right here. Yep.
Jackie Powell with Bleacher Report. Paige, this is for you. I asked Kristen and Olivia yesterday, but while you were out, how do you think maybe the adversity that you and the whole group dealt with this season maybe better prepared for you all for this tournament and what it takes to play and compete and win in this tournament?
I think it really highlighted our depth, different people having to step up. I think there was almost double-digit starting lineups during the season, so it's just everybody gained a whole lot of confidence, and you know that in the tournament, different people are going to have to step up at different times. Not one person can carry a team to a national championship. So I think with last game, the first game, different people are stepping up. I mean, AZ had a really great game last game and sort of carried the load scoring. And then today, I mean, it was a really well-balanced attack, and I think that's the best thing that came out of all this adversity was just the confidence that everybody got that no matter what, we have each other's back and we're going to step up for each other.
Vicky right here in front.
Vicky Fulkerson from the New London Day in Connecticut. Liv, I was wondering, Coach was talking about the seniors, how you played, with a sense of urgency today. Can you just talk about how happy you are to get this win and how, you came out in the third quarter just kind of fired up to get this win?
Yeah, I think, these past 4 years have been pretty unusual for especially me and Kristen. But, coming into the tournament, we don't take these games lightly. We definitely don't take it for granted. And just to be able to play together and get a win like this today really means a lot to us and just in terms of carrying on to the next game, too.
Alexa right behind you, Vicky. Thank you.
Liv, you and Aaliyah almost single-handedly out-rebounded Indiana. How big of a key was that going into the game, and how much momentum did you get when you're, especially on the offensive glass, just being able to dominate that end of the ball?
Yeah, I think, throughout the season, rebounding has been a point of emphasis, especially from the coaches. And, just going out there today, I think staying in an aggressive mentality and just keep attacking, keep crashing the boards is really huge for us.
We got time for a couple more. Jeff on the left there.
Jeff Magliacetti with Huskies Report. This question is for Olivia. You've worked with Aaliyah Edwards a lot, and lately she's taken on some extensive responsibilities over the past few weeks. So what can you say has been the biggest change in her game, and how has she responded to these extended opportunities?
I think just her confidence. You've been able to see it grow throughout the entire season, and I think she's really peaking at the right moment. And you can definitely see it when she plays. She's aggressive, and she keeps that mentality throughout the entire game, and she really contributes a lot on both ends. And so I think you've just been able to see that growth from her throughout the entire season.
Any other questions for the student athletes? If not, we'll let them go back to the locker room. Thank you very much. Congratulations. We'll now take questions for
Thank
Coach
you.
Oriema. Again, if you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get started here with Mike and go to Joe. Or Joe and then Mike. Go ahead, Joe.
You said Mike and Joe, so they gave the mic to Joe.
The mic to Joe. Yeah. Go ahead.
Joe Zone, Channel 3 Hartford. Gino, I assume going into the game, rebounding is going to be a strategy. Did you think that you would be so dominant offensively rebounding that game? Did you see those kind of opportunities when you were scouting?
No. I just think offensive rebounding is a part of the game that it's not something that a lot of players take pride in. It's not something that players aspire to be. You know, this isn't the old days where you had players make a living out of being great offensive rebounders. But in the NCAA tournament, we talk a lot going into this game. We did, especially about we're going to get open shots. We know that. We don't have problems, generally speaking, getting open shots. But we need to give ourselves more possessions than just that one shot. Because whenever it's a possessions game where there's a game is a high possession game, whether a low possession game, it plays to our strengths. So today we had almost 20 more shots than they did. So when you do that, it's usually because of second shots. And, we're a good offensive team, and to give us more than one shot, that's allowing us to do what we do best. But it takes a lot of work, and not everybody's willing to do it. And we wouldn't be talking about it in these terms if that was our thing all year. You would just say, hey, you guys have been doing this all year. No, we haven't. This is not an easy thing to do, the offensive rebound. And luckily we had two guys tonight that were fantastic at it.
Mike, go ahead.
That was quite a 3 or 4 minute stretch to open the third quarter, as you mentioned. And as I asked the players, it seemed like everyone got involved and everything went right. What did you see from your team at that point, and what was key to that?
I told them in the locker room, during that stretch, there was a look about us, that we felt exceptionally confident. We knew exactly where we were going. We knew where the ball was going. We knew where the shots were coming from. We could pick and choose which shots we wanted to take, and we got more layups than we had gotten, the previous two quarters. Paige making that three on the inbounds play. We just spread it up. Kristen became really active. We're at our best when we're going up and down the floor. I don't think any team in this tournament wants to walk the ball up the floor and run their offense for 40 minutes. The reason there's teams still playing is because they're really, really good defensive teams. So if you think you can walk the ball up the floor against any of the teams that are left and just run your stuff and think you're going to get any shot you want, you're crazy. So you got to get easy buckets. And we managed to do that.
Doug, right here in front.
Hey, Gino, Doug Feinberg, the AP. Two-parter. First is just talk about that defense and how locked in you guys seem to have been the last 3 or 4 weeks. Second part is, can you talk a little bit about the Big East now and how you guys have two teams in the Elite Eight with you guys and obviously the surprise run by the Creighton.
Man, Peacocks and the Blue Jays, man. Right? It's great. It's great stories. Great stories. Yeah, our league gets a bad rap sometimes, People love to do that. I don't know who gave them the term Power Five, whatever the hell that meant. But I know they have all the money. I know that, you know, some of the schools in our league don't have anywhere close to what some of the schools in those other leagues have. But what they do have is damn good basketball players. And I think it's proven out this tournament that, you know, when our teams lose to each other in our league, it should be treated the same way like other leagues where they go, oh, you know, they're so tough in that league, they just beat each other up throughout the whole year. No, well, if you're that beat up, you shouldn't go to the tournament then. You know? So in my mind, first we got 4 teams in, which was incredibly good for the Big East. And then we got 2 in the final 8, you know? It's pretty damn good, man, you know? And it's going to be even better next year because we got a lot of these kids coming back on all these teams in the Big East.
Lori there in the back.
And Villanova is going to win a national championship on the men's side, too, just in case you were wondering.
Go ahead.
Lori Riley from the Hartford Current. When Paige is hitting shots like that, like she was hitting in the third quarter, does that give the rest of the team more confidence, do you think? It seemed like they kind of fed off of that.
Paige?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a conundrum that we have. We really want Paige to do well because she's coming off of a big surgery, and we want her to play well. And we know how good she is, so we want her to be the Paige that she was. What you don't want is sit around and root for Paige while the game is going on instead of playing basketball. So it's been a little bit of finding ourselves again. How much do we want to cheer for Paige, and how much do we need to just play basketball and make shots and let her figure her own way out there. And today, you know, she took a more assertive role, which I like for her to do. But you can tell that, you know, she hasn't played in a long time, so she doesn't have the same stuff she used to have. But each day it gets more and more like it used to be. But it doesn't have to be as good as it was because everybody else around her is a lot better than they were.
Roger, and then we'll go to Dom.
Roger Cleveland from the Waterbury Republican American. Gino, you mentioned Kristen and Olivia in the opening, but how important is it for Kristen to be locked in the way she has been in the Big East tournament and now just in a more aggressive mentality?
Man, you're a senior and you're playing in the NCAA tournament. It's like you're fighting for your life, right? You know, it's your last chance to make it work, and you don't want to leave anything to chance, right? You want to make sure that you take care of all the things you're supposed to take care of, that you are mentally and physically ready to go, and that, you know, you can't keep pushing it off on somebody else. You know, you can't, as a freshman, you can say, well, you know, or as a sophomore, you get to be a senior. I don't care how good Paige or AZ or any of these other young guys are. It doesn't matter. You know, there comes a point when you're a senior and you've played as much basketball as Kristen and Liv have, where you have to put it on your own shoulders and go, you know, if I want this, I actually have control over how this ends. They actually do. They have way more control than I do over it. So you need to, you know, exercise that control. And that's what she's doing for the first time in her career.
Dom, go ahead.
Yeah, Gino, while you're still playing 9, you know, you mentioned Paige is getting closer to what she was. What do you like about this 5 that you seem to be kind of sticking with? They're rolling, and obviously you're not going to break it up when it's going well. What do you like about this core?
Well, I made a concerted effort. I wanted to play 9 players today. I wanted to play 9 players. We got 9 in. Just some people, sometimes when they get in, are more effective than others. And so you got to watch and see, what do they have today? But unfortunately, some people need a lot of minutes to be effective. But unfortunately, the NCAA tournament, you don't have time. So you got to get it done right away, you know? So it's kind of, It's not. It's just nobody's fault. It just is what it is. You know, Nika helps us out by fouling a lot, so that gets us to get somebody else in the game. You know, but everyone has a role to play on our team, and it depends on what night it is, what your role is going to be that night, which is what I really like.
We only have about 2 or 3 more minutes with Coach right there behind them. Here you go.
Hey, Coach. Azar from MV Magazine. The UCF game, and you always talk about how it's not going to always be we're going to win by 20 or 30 points. How much did that game affect today, as where it kind of, you always want to get the message to your team to always be on your A game. It's never just always going to be easy. So how much did that game kind of roll into this and get you guys going the way that you play today?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good point. Look, you watch all these games on television, and they all go down to the wire for the most part. You know, I watched yesterday's game; they're all like within 8 points, something like that. So you know, every game's supposed to be hard. But at UConn, you know, when you've made it look easy enough times, the expectation sometimes is, why isn't this easy tonight? Why are we struggling so much? And then you have to remind them, this is part of the deal. The struggle is part of the deal. Just because we managed to avoid it a lot of times, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So that Monday was a huge reminder to our team that, yo, this is how these things go. You don't just roll in, right? Have a conversation with the other team and go, what do you want the score tonight to be? You got to go out there and beat their ass. They're not going to lose, right? Nobody's going to lose to you in this tournament. You got to go out and beat them. And it's getting harder and harder every year, let me tell you. And you saw that first game. Man, every game is hard. Every game's a grind. These kids don't want their season to end. Nobody does. Nobody does.
Alexa and then Jackie, we might be out of time.
Gino, when Aaliyah is able to play like this, you mentioned her rebounding, but just the intensity she brought. I think she had a charge maybe early too that she took. What can that help you guys do long term with the team the rest of the season?
As I said, everybody has a particular role to play. Aaliyah knows exactly what that role is for us. You know, what I can't have a conversation with Liv. I go, Liv, I want you to go out there and knock people around. Really? I mean, but Aaliyah can. And Aaliyah can be physical, and Aaliyah can assert herself, and she can carve out space, and she can get an offensive rebound that very few people can get to, because she's strong enough and quick enough. And defensively, we can switch her out on a lot of different players, and she can help us defensively. And believe it or not, she's probably our best free throw shooter, other than AZ right now. So she was really, really pissed at herself for missing those 2 free throws, and then it affected her for a couple minutes. But everybody has a role to play in everything, right? That doesn't mean they always love their role, like enjoy their role, and, you know, everybody wants to be up here talking to you guys because they were the leading scorer, the leading this and the leading that. But that's not how you win championships. You know, everybody's got to do a little bit. And tonight, Aaliyah did a lot. You know, we talk about it all the time. You just want people to kind of be, you know, you never want them to be like, oh, you were really good during the season. Well, you don't want to be bad today, right? You don't need to be 10 times better than you were during the season either. You just need to be as good as you've ever been. Not better, just good. Good. Who else?
Jackie with the last one.
Hey, Gino. We saw Notre Dame fall today at the last moment to NC State because of a lack of composure responding to a high-pressure defense. And there was a point in the fourth quarter where Indiana was hanging around, maybe down 11 or 13 points. So I'm curious, what did your team do to make sure that Indiana didn't battle back? And how would you judge their level of composure, especially considering how well Indiana defends backcourts?
There's things that we do at practice that our players look at me like, why do we have to do this? And a lot of it is because working on your jump shot and working on your ball handling and working on your shooting, or your rebounding or your defense, whatever, is a skill. So is learning how to handle high-intensity situation by keeping your composure. That just comes real easily to some people. Some people are never flustered by anything. Other people get flustered at the first sign of pressure. So it's work every day. It's work every day. And Monday it could be completely different. Monday we could have a complete breakdown. Who knows? But generally speaking, these are things you work on. So does it work all the time? No. Sometimes the best kids under the toughest situations don't handle themselves very well. It's not anything wrong with that. That just happens. Kids miss free throws that are great free throw shooters because they mean so much. So I thought the one big play really when they pressed us was E breaking the press by herself and finding Paige for a layup. I think that kind of got our team going like, yeah, if they keep pressing us, we're going to keep doing that. As opposed to when a team presses you and you turn it over the first 3 times, now it's over. Now you might as well just hand on the ball and warm up the bus.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be joined by the Indiana contingent shortly.